this time, this is our second programme. I'm Jen Langerscoff, Education Programme Manager for Festival Bridge here in East Anglia. By this time next year, Festival Bridge hopes to have created a network of creative arts teachers from both primary and secondary settings who have increased confidence, capabilities and passion for their personal creative endeavours and their professional lives. We really try and listen to our teachers when we plan our programmes, and we really want to encourage you to continue the conversation about what it means to be a native creative and to take and hear about your personal purposeful action. We think Festival Bridge is best placed to help make this happen because of our strong connections and relationships with educational settings, with teachers, artists educators, arts and cultural organisations across East Anglia and nationally. The programme for this Native Creatives is Making Positive Change, Advocacy, Subversion and Pioneership. And we listened to you, we listened to your feedback from the previous programme. And I carried out a teacher focus group from a range of different teachers, and we carefully selected really purposeful expert guest speakers to focus on the change making in their careers. So we hope that they will provide you with some food for thought in developing and instigating change in your creative practice, both in and outside of school. We really encourage you to get involved with Native Creatives conversation by joining us on one of our social media groups on Facebook or on Twitter, and you can find all the information on our website, or it's going to be popped into the chat box. So please do join our groups because we want to keep this conversation going and we want to make sure that we're hearing your voices. We want to also make sure that we are taking Native Creatives in the right direction. So we want to know, who do you want to hear from in the autumn programme? As we did last time, we're going to have a Jamboard at the end of the session for you to comment and make suggestions. Your feedback is so important to us and to our speakers, so please do take just a couple of minutes at the end to put your sticky note on the Jamboard. It's really self-explanatory. If you haven't done it before, just click on the link and you'll see what you've got to do. It's basically like a post-it note, a virtual post-it note. And also by telling us what you do in your creative practice on Mentimeter. As I said, we'll be recording, but just the facilitator, and we also have got closed captions available if you need them. You can put the captioning on in your taskbar if you need to. I really want to encourage questions as well, guest speaker. So think about what those questions might be to help you with your personal practice and your professional endeavours. And there might be a specific topic spoken about that can connect with something you're working on, or you might want to ask some advice from our speakers to help drive your ambition to make change. So I'm now going to introduce our second expert guest speaker of the day. She doesn't need a huge introduction because I think you all know why you're here and who she is. But our next guest is a Global Teacher Award winner of 2018. She's a teacher of art and textiles at Alberton Community College in Brighton, where she is also Associate Deputy Head Teacher, having been at the school for 14 years. She has been named as one of the Evening Standard's top 1,000 influential Londoners, and she sits on the board of the Cultural Learning Alliance. Having turned down an opportunity, this is my best bit, having turned down an opportunity to work for the government following her Global Teacher win, she decided to use, yes, so Susan Coles, I can see her in the corner. She decided to use the $1 million prize money to establish AIR, Artists in Residence, a charity to help improve arts education in schools. She's the author of Those Who Can Teach, which was published by Bloomsbury just this year. And at the beginning of her book, she talks about an all-important meeting she had with Nick Gibb, the then schools minister, and what she writes in her book resonated with me and what this particular Native Creatives programme represents. So I'm just going to read you a couple of lines very quickly. I wouldn't be here now if I'd towed the line, if I'd smiled and said yes and no in all the right places, if I'd been on my best behaviour at all times, if I hadn't pushed for more in my school or gone above and beyond to care for my students. Breaking the rules was what brought me here. Buy this book, it's really good. Andria wants to make change for her students. Without further ado, please welcome Andria Zafirakou. Over to you.
Oh, Jen, that was just too beautiful. Thank you so much. You said expert speaker. There's no expert about me, to be honest with you. And everyone in the audience, I'm having the worst tech problems ever. So today, I think everyone, exactly, look at that. So, and I'm actually on my daughter's laptop. So if it goes horribly wrong, please just have a glass of wine or whatever you're drinking, have a swig then, and we'll just play a drinking game or something, because we all deserve it today. But anyway, oh, it's so wonderful to be here, and gosh, what a term it is, and what weather we're having today. And I'm hoping that you guys are having the same as we're having in London. I'm just melting away, but it's all good. It's all good. And I am happy to be here. Now, so when I first found out about this event, I thought, oh my God, great, I can talk about weaving and do a little bit of weaving demonstration, and just teach all the other teachers a little bit of what I do. And then Jen was like, no, you need to empower, you need to do your thing. And I was like, right. I'm upping my game. And actually there's loads we can talk about, because quite a lot of things have happened over the last few months. So Jen, I might need a time check, so just butt in whenever you need. Okay, so we're going to start.
No problem.
So here we go. So first of all, very quick starter activity. When did you realize that art was your language? So 1 minute, close your eyes, reflect. When was it? What were you making? What were you listening to? What were you seeing? Just have a think. And I'm hoping now that you've managed to either see a product or see something which resonates with that question there. For me, I think there's two distinct images that I have in my mind. The first being a piece of artwork which I did when I was in either I think it was reception or year 1 at primary, where my teacher asked me to make a picture of a member of your family. And I found a scrapbook of fake fur and corduroys, and I remember I made my dad, and I got the fake fur and I cut out a triangle for his beard, and the corduroy trousers, exactly what my dad wears. He used to wear those to work. And so it's really interesting to be inspired by that product, and also by the piece of work that I achieved. And the second piece that I can vividly remember is, I don't know if you guys have ever had it, but it was almost like a white pinboard, and you'd design by attaching pegs onto this pinboard. And I remember, I think I must have been about 3 years old in Greece, wearing my swimming costume, and I was carrying around my pinboard, showing it to just random people who I was meeting on the beach or wherever it was. And it was a red circle with a blue dot in the middle. So I mean, it's amazing how inspired we are with that, with our artwork and with the arts. And I'm just loving this word inspiration at the moment. This is going to be my key word for our session: inspiration, and what inspires us. And going back to the previous slide of, when was it that art was your language, art was yours, art was something you were breathing. And this is why the word inspiration is really key, because inspiration, inspirate, in Italian means to breathe in. And I'm loving the noun of this definition, the fact of inhaling. And that is what art is for many of us. It's life. It's what we need. We can't survive without it. It's our air. It's our breath. And going on forward, moving on from that, I'd like to share with you who inspired me. So who are the people that really, I don't know, who I can connect with, who are my allies, who are my role models, who, in a world where, coming from a family where the arts were not seen as important, yet they were everywhere. So the first thing I used to remember was coming home after school and rushing to see this gorgeous man on TV. So Tony Hart with his little bud morph, the mischievous morph. And we used to love him, or I used to love him, simply because of the graceful manner which he had, and how calm he was, and how quickly he just produced what I thought was just extraordinary work, by using charcoal or pen. And he'd say, you could use this, you could use that. And my mind was boggling. I used to remember the gallery and thinking, one day I'll be brave enough, one day I'm going to send in my work, or will my work be as good as those amazing students or children on there? I never did, because I was too tricky and I wasn't brave enough, but the hope was there. So Tony Hart was somebody who always inspired me. And the other person is this gorgeous woman here. This gorgeous woman is my grandmother. Now she's passed about, I think, about 10 years ago now. And the reason why this woman has inspired me and will always inspire me and continues to inspire me is that her tiny petite frame of 4.8 feet was nothing compared to her magnitude and what she achieved for her family. And I only realized, and I only I only realized the connection of art and craft in my blood when I found out that my grandmother was a weaver in Cyprus. So she had her own, she grew her own, she weaved her own silk fabric, and at one point she was weaving in secret by candlelight, simply because the government, the British government, wanted all of her fabric to be used for parachutes, silk parachutes. So they commissioned her to do the parachutes during the day, but at night time she would weave secretly to produce income for her family. And textiles was everywhere in my house and in my grandmother's house, and I was really upset that it took me, I think, up until university to realize that there is that her and I are one, we're the same. But thankfully she managed to come to my exhibition when I was doing my degree show, and we celebrated there. A lovely Cypriot granny in Brighton University, though that's a story I'll one day tell you. Now, many of you hear about the stories I speak to my students, so you may have heard about this student before, and he definitely is in the book that I write about. And this is Alvaro. And I think another reason why I'm so inspired is, and I feel that I have got a mission to support our young people, a mission to teach the arts and to be really good at it, and to make sure that everyone, you know, whether they like it or not, enjoys some part of the course. And this is Alvaro, and I know many of you who have come to my talks may have heard me speak to him about him, but he's a student who's changed my life. He's the one who made me regret a mindset which I had. And the mindset which I had, and this was, I think, when I was a year 2 teacher, was to join in with the mindset that his parents had, and that is that he can't achieve. This student had came from a background that had lots and lots of special educational needs. One of them was that he was selected mute, so he transferred into my mainstream school, and his parents thought he's not going to achieve anything, but we just want him to go to a normal school. To cut a very long story short, Alvaro did not just blow us away with what he achieved, but not only did he get a GCSE in art, which was a grade D, but that was his only subject that he got a GCSE with, and he was becoming much more confident enough to talk, to socialize with other students, and that was a tremendous step. And this work here, which I'm showing in front of you, is a piece of work which he did for his A-level, part of his exhibition. And I think the story tells me everything. It's him just trying to come out of his body. Him is trying to kind of scream out and to fix his communication challenge, which he has, his language challenge. So what I learned from from Alvaro, just secretly gave his name away, but what I learned from Alvaro was that I think we must never underestimate the potential of every child we have in front of us. And we must always acknowledge the fact that art is one of the best techniques, the best sources to unbreak that passion and find and enable him to reach his full potential. That's my story about Alvaro. But the thing is, that's okay. So what do I teach? What is it that our students need now? So our students are going through crisis. Let's be honest. I mean, the NHS reported that 1 in 6 students, young people, will be suffering from mental health. I think that we will know in our classrooms and our schools that will be more. So what can we do? Well, the first thing is just try and make them aspire, make sure that we are providing opportunities for them to think big, to think beyond the boxes which they think they fit into. And we can do that in our subject. And we can do this by enhancing their imagination and really moving this on and getting them to imagine. And, you know, when was the last time we had a chance to imagine? When was the last time we got our young people to imagine and to think and to just give them that space? So creating these opportunities is a way forward. My apologies for the sound in the back. This is my family just doing their thing. The third one is feel, and I'm loving this word, and I've put this word here, directly inspired from my lovely Susan Cole, because she did a brilliant presentation. Actually, all her presentations are brilliant. Come on, let's be honest. But she did an amazing presentation on touch and the power of touch, and that really resonated with me. The fact that touching is something that we need to get our young people to do now more than ever, especially when they've been, you know, prohibited from doing that. So, what are they feeling? What can we get them to feel? What can we get them to explore? Questioning. What questions do they want to ask but they're not? How are they exploring their language? If I was to ask you what was your favourite time at school, what was a day that you can remember above all any, you would tell me, oh, it's the day that we went on a trip, and it's the day that we did something different, that we were doing something quite exciting. So let's bring back the joy and play. We can do that in our subjects. This just goes hand in hand. Being joyful, experience play, experience some inquisitiveness is where the arts almost have their natural habitat. And talking. You know, asking them what is it that they can see, what are they feeling, what are you thinking about this? And I think I'm noticing that, especially in my school, and when I'm not sure what you guys think, but when those students have come back from lockdown, their vocabulary has I'd say decreased, or it's not developed as highly as we'd like it to be. So we need to support their language skills, their vocabulary skills. We need to make sure that they are talking, and a good way of doing that again is talking about their artwork and what they're experiencing. Creative, identify, very powerful. So remembering that our young people now, there's a lot of issues in the media, there's a lot of things that they are seeing and experiencing and feeling. So we need to make sure that the artists and also the teachers we have in front of them, that they can identify with it. It's part of their identity. They see similarities, they see role models, and I think that's something that will help our young people to become even more mature. And lastly, kindness. This is a given with our subject. We can really promote kindness in our subject, sharing, exploring, collaboration. The way that we do critiques, kindness is where art falls in so naturally. And going back to all of those points, I will never forget. I think one of those moments that we've had over the last year is this moment here for me. And this was when Black Lives Matters happened. And out of the blue, out of nowhere, some students just sent me some pictures, just like, Miss, what do you think about this? Or some of them just with just their name on the email. And I felt honoured with the fact that actually our subject is helping our young people communicate what they are feeling. And they're asking us permission to almost acknowledge that and to see if it's the right thing. And we're actually in a really privileged position, because some of those feelings are hurt and anger, which reminds me of a story here that I'm going to share with you of a student called Rina that I taught many years ago now. And again, like Alvaro, she's another student that you will never forget and has taught you the biggest lesson. And for me, it's the power of looking. Now, with this particular student, she was a ghost student, so she was amazing in all respect. She would do absolutely everything correctly, you know, the ones that we never normally pay attention to because they're just brilliant all the time. And this was her final GCSE piece. Now, the problem was her sketchbook for her examination piece was completely different. It's almost like there were two different characters, two different people. And seeing this final piece, I was really perplexed, and I thought, oh my God, this is amazing, but you know, she's going to lose grades because there's no connection. How are we going to mark this? How are we going to moderate this? And I felt very uncomfortable, and I thought, no, something is wrong. This child doesn't do work like this. She does work like she draws flowers and she does mending patterns, and it's all quite beautiful and decorative. What is going on? So we brought this student back into school just for a little chat, and she was absolutely terrified when she came to see us. And you know, the head of department was there, Armando, and I sat there, and she just was terrified to come in the room, and she sat down, and we had her piece of artwork there. And, you know, how do you start a conversation? And I think the thing I just said to her was like, Rima, what's going on? What's happening? And then, you know, she just then broke down, and you saw her pulling down her sleeves and body kind of closing up. And she disclosed to us that she was going through some awful experiences at home. And one of them was that she was self-harming because her family were thinking of sending her away to get married. And so these are some of the trauma. These tales, these discoveries, you know, we have the front row access when we look clearly in our lessons. And so I think it's really the opportunity for us to see what's going on. And we need to, you know, we need to promote this. We need to tell our schools, look, it's the arts. It's, you know, I have discovered this through my art lesson. I have discovered this through my music lesson. I have discovered this child, you know, something's happening. Because I think that's probably a way that our leadership team will start listening to us. So as many of you know, this happened to me. I won the Global Teacher Prize, and it has changed my life significantly. And the reason why I got this slide up was because I wanted to share with you, actually, this was one of the most greatest moments in my life, but also one of the most hardest moments in my life, because along with great responsibility of being named the best teacher in the world comes a lot of pressure. And obviously you're representing not just your school community, the UK teachers, but also the art teachers of the world. And so things have got to be right. And because of this win, a lot of things have happened to me, and a lot of questions and challenging conversations I had to speak about. And one of them, Jen mentioned earlier, and I'm putting this slide up because I am a massive fan of Women Ed, and I'm a great believer of sisterhood, and that women supporting women and women inspire women. And one of my 10% braver stories is the fact that what Jen said earlier, and that I write about, is I was asked to be, shall we say, the cover girl of a school, of a teacher recruitment campaign after I won. And the government was, you know, the UK government was so kind of proud of me. We're so proud of you, Andrea, so proud. And I would like you to support our campaign. You know, what do you think? And my answer was, no, thank you. And the reason being, which they asked us, so why, Angela? Well, the reason being is because, you know, this government doesn't support the arts and education, and because of that, you know, the textiles curriculum. And I just went off on an unleash. But do I regret that? Absolutely not, because what I had then was a duty. So Andrea, what are you going to do with the $1 million? What are you going to do? Well, you know, you've got to put your money where your mouth is. And so I absolutely did. And with that, we started this organisation, Artists in Residence, which it's something that I'm so proud of. It's making a difference. And what we do is we believe in the power of those role models of the artists and designers working with our young people. We know that as art teachers, we're brilliant. We can demonstrate and teach every single technique. We can get them to open their minds. But you just watch what happens when you get an artist or a designer having a conversation with that young person. That's where that inspiration just ignites, and that's when they're like, right, I'm going to be a designer, I'm going to work for I'm going to be a graphic designer, I'm a gaming illustrator. And I think this is what what my mission was, to make sure that I have somebody, or I help our young people and also our teachers help to make the decision, or help the young people to make a decision that there is careers, that there are opportunities within the arts, that it's not just, as our wonderful Secretary of Schools will suggest in a second time. So I've just put these slides up, and this is just examples of what we do in our charities. So we arrange for artists and designers to visit schools in deprived areas, where they work with, we like to say that the school improvement students, so students who are part of the school improvement plan, who are the high profile students, to help them navigate ways. And there is an art form that could support all our young people. So going back to our wonderful schools minister, after all I've just said to you, after everything that we all know about how amazing the arts and how they inspire young people, this is what they've done. This is what they've done. One word: idiots. I think it is. Maybe there's more, but I'm going to use that because I think I'm in a very safe environment. But it just hurts, right? It just hurts that they don't think that the arts are priorities. It just hurts, and it's almost like, what lenses, what else do they need? And what I'm going to do now is show you a series of slides, which, if you are struggling in your schools and you haven't got that support from your senior leadership teams, and that, you know, maybe the senior leadership teams are slightly narrow-minded, and hey, I am a school's senior leader, and I've been fighting, and I will continue to fight for our subjects. But here are just some points that you may want to share with them. So these have all of these stats have been produced by some research carried out with the Cultural Learning Alliance, and I just think they are great ammo. So number one, participation in structured arts activities can increase cognitive abilities by 17%. Oh my God, you know, students will become much more cleverer, or much more inspired, or more academically inclined through taking the arts. Learning through arts and culture can improve attainment in maths and English. And if you want examples, you need to come and speak to me, and I'll give you an example which happened yesterday. Very quickly, this is what happened in my household yesterday. So my youngest daughter, which I normally speak about, and who's on her iPad on Procreate, she is going to be the next, I don't know what she is, but I see her attending the Royal Academy and being an RA, and probably designing the next Buckingham Palace. She is so totally cool with art and design. But yesterday she came home and she said, "Mummy, I've got some good news for you." And I said, "What's your news?" And she said to me, we're doing it. She's year 5 in primary school. And she said, "Mum, we're having an assessment week at school this week." And I said, "Okay." And I got the top marks. I got 19 out of 20 for maths. So there you go, evidence that if the arts and having that love and having that constant self-drive and experience does improve attainment in English and maths. Number 3, learning through arts and culture develops skills and behaviour that leads children to do better in school. Absolutely. I think we can all provide evidence for that. Number 4, students from low-income families who take part in the activities at school are 3 times more likely to get a degree. I mean, that's incredible. That's social mobility there, right? That's moving people on from low aspirations to high aspirations. I mean, that's incredible. I'll quickly fly through these, but I just think they're just worth spending time on because they are just epic. Employability of students who study art subjects is higher, and they are more likely to stay in employment. There you go. Students from low-income families who engage in the arts at school are twice as likely to volunteer. I mean, I love this quote. Why? Because again, it's about helping the environment and working with communities, and not just thinking about you and yourself, thinking about the wider world. Beautiful. Students from low-income families who engage in the arts at school are 20% more likely to vote as young adults. Again, linking back to number 6. Young offenders who take part in art activities are 18% less likely to reoffend. There we go, we're improving the nation. There, we're cutting the crime. Children who take part in art activities in their home during early years are ahead in reading and maths at the age of 9. So the more our young people are exposed to arts and crafts and play, they are ahead by the time they reach year 9. Again, age 9, quite phenomenal data. And finally, and I think this is why we are the most happiest, amazing, most healthiest people. People who take part in the arts are 38% more likely to report good health. Yeah. So it's about that mindset, that well-being factor. And so some things that I've just put some little notes that we could, I'm going to move my face over there you go, pop off. Some things that we could possibly think about doing in our schools, just to, again, raise the arts. And now that we're doing lots of next year planning, what can we do in our departments to make sure that the world knows how incredible our subject is and why every child should be doing this every single minute of the day? So first of all, find out any competition that's out there, enter all your kids from it, enter everyone, take part in it, or create competitions. Make sure that there is always something on the school calendar every month that has got to be about the art department. Right, we've all been doing this for the last 2 years. We've been looking at our curriculums, we've been making sure they're looking fabulous and really, really good for our learners. But a question you need to reflect on: if you were studying what's in your curriculum, would you be inspired? Would you be motivated? Is it part, can you connect with it? Can you relate to it? Does it feature your culture, your background? Have a think about that. Liaise, I love this word, it's my favorite word at the moment, liaising. It's who is out there that you can partner with. My new best friend at the moment is the local high street manager for Alperton and Ealing Road, where my school is, and I'm trying to convince her to design all of the, let's go crazy with all the pedestrian crossings, let's design them, let's have schools designing the pedestrian crossings in the local area. And so it's thinking about who can we liaise with. Can we liaise with our local councillors? Can we liaise with a primary school, secondary school next door? What can we do to start raising the profile and seeing what other people are doing? Do you know what? I can't actually see what. Right. Okay, here we go. So my face is everywhere, so it's getting a bit, applying. So applying to absolutely every funding bid that you can do. So make sure that, the Arts Council are always inviting schools to apply, but see what other kind of bids are out there. There is another funding website which I use quite a lot. It's called Grants for Schools, which when I normally just kind of, I think there's one subscription you need for a year, but there are always opportunities for the arts. It's not a lot of money, but you will find something come up from some foundations who are offering money. What else we have? Celebrate, yep, that goes without saying. Diversity, we've spoken about diversity. So again, thinking about who's on your staff board. So who, have you got a diverse staff? Are you teaching diversity? Our subject is the one that should be leading the diversity curriculum across the school. We should be doing this, yeah? It just goes hand in hand with everything that we can teach and display. If there is a wall in your school building that has not got a piece of artwork on, guys, you're failing. Go take over the science walls, just make sure there is something there. Start promoting your students' work in every single nook and cranny you have in your school. Because at the end of the day, it's all about inspiration. It's about making sure that we are creating the environment, the attitude for our young people to be the best that they can be. And I love this, and I'll keep on using this quote because this quote inspires me to no end. Yes, Andrea, you are talking rubbish. It's impossible, what we're doing. Well, actually, come on, guys. Impossible is our favorite word. Look what we're achieving. We're all here today. Nearly 6. It's gone 6. We're here. We're inspired. We want to know how we can passionately promote the arts in our schools. And so, from the words of Alice, there is no use trying, she says. One can't believe in impossible things. But then the Queen says, I dare say you haven't had much practice. When I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. Impossibility is our bread and butter, art people. So let's get cracking. Let's get on with it. And thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Andrea. That was amazing.
My tech worked. My tech.
Yes, everything worked perfectly. That was so brilliant, and I'm sure there are some questions that people would like to ask you. I have got about 1 million questions I'd like to ask you, but I'm going to save that for when I get you on my own. But who would like to kick off and be brave and turn on your cameras and your microphones and ask Andrea a question? I'm just flicking through. If you wave your arm around. Oh, come on, Susan, then you kick us off.
Oh.
Well, it's been 11 years of banging your head against a wall and being frustrated, and then seeing all, you know, like Gavin's latest trick about calling arts courses low value. And I do everything and you do everything, and I'm not giving up and you're not giving up. But how do we convince the people that are wrapped up in the everyday of education where they don't feel they have that power? How do we bring them back into our army, Andrea?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's about changing the language sometimes that we're using. I think we've got to change our approach. I'm not sure what the approach is, but we need to find a way of. And I'm sorry about the lighting in that. You can see I'm shining, feeling quite godly at the moment. All this light everywhere. But it is. I think it's about changing the language that we can use, thinking about a different approach. I find that just by flipping things in a positive way, I get my head teachers to say normally yes to everything. So if we need to start flipping things, then let's do it. But I think it's about promotion as well. So the more we do in our schools, the more our parents are engaging, the more the parents are saying, my God, we need this has changed my child's life, then that's the way forward. But I think we're still fighting, you know, but we're good, we can fight, you know. This is our day to day. Come on, Sue.
Well, yes, but also, Andrea, because I've asked you the question several times, would you go into senior leadership? In the last 5 weeks, I've had 5 heads of art who've told me they've gone into senior leadership. And that makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And my God, how wonderful is that?
Yeah.
That is just the most I mean, because then you know that you've got people who are you know, when the conversations on curriculum happens, when the conversation on funding happens, when the conversation of priorities and let's have drop down days, you know, the arts teachers will say, we want them, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to fight for them. And you know, we're really good at making noises, aren't we? We're very good at making people uncomfortable. We're very good at throwing awkward questions, and sometimes those awkward questions need to be heard. And so, God, that's given me so much reassurance that we have got the right people sitting on our leadership teams. Awesome. Oh,
and I think thank you, Susan. I think on the back of that, Penny wants to ask you something.
Yeah.
Penny, over to you.
Hi, Andrea. It's
hi, Penny.
Hi, it's so lovely to see you. And like Susan, I'm a big fan. You're a hero and such a great advocate for arts education. So thank you for that. So my question is related to Susan's, but it's slightly different in terms of if you were to project forward into the future and imagine an education system that was fit for our children and did prioritise the arts. Just tell us a little bit about that. What might it look like from your point of view? Because in a way I was a bit sad that you didn't say yes to Nick Gibb, because you could have changed the system from the inside. But I completely understand why you didn't. But yeah, so imagine a better future for our children. What would that be?
I think a better future would be a future or just experience whereby assessment was not what it is today, whereby students weren't subjects weren't categorized in boxes. So art, music, drama, science, maths, that there was more cross-curricular activities happening and experiences happening. I think there would be much more focus on culture and diversity, and bringing the real people into the schools, real role models into schools, that we are bringing industry in, that we are going out to industry and we're collaborating with industry, that universities are doing more outreach work. We're working with universities as well. So I think the word is partnerships. Let's not be working in isolation. Let's just try and see how we can work in together. Now, I think for me, the end point that I always have in my mind, and I don't know if it's because I'm a mum or if it's because, you know, secretly I'm reflecting on what, you know, that challenge of what the question my dad first asked me, what jobs can you do in the art or with an arts qualification? I think it'll be great if, you know, the more we have leaders of industry saying we need creatives, we need people who are blue sky thinkers, who are good at mastery, who are good at thinking outside the box, who can communicate, collaborate, who are, you know, who can work under challenging conditions, which, come on, that's like art. That's the skills you get in arts, right? So I think until we get that voice, which the government like, because that's ka-ching, once we get those voices screaming out saying we actually want art qualifications, that's going to make a massive difference. So I'm going to try and work on I'm going to try and work on those people. So if you can do that again. And Penny, it's such an honor and to finally get to meet you as well through this means as well.
Oh no.
We were at, sorry, Penny. Sorry.
No, you go, Jen.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that Susan and I had this really interesting conversation with Stephen Chamberlain, who's the CEO of Big Trust of Schools in this area. And one of the things he said in that conversation was that they were doing some work with Apple. Is that right, Susan? And they were talking specifically about the skills that the arts brings to people that they want working for a big organisation like that. And it was problem solving, creativity, thinking, all the things that you're just talking about. It seems so narrow-minded, doesn't it, that people aren't seeing the wood for the trees of those skills that the arts can bring.
Yes, and the University of Kingston are bringing out a report, which I think was launched last week. You might have heard it on the Today programme. They've interviewed a range of employers from Ocado to Lidl, to not even in the creative industries, about the skills that people need, and they're going to present that at the next All-Party Parliamentary Group for Education meeting, which will be next week, that everybody's saying we need those creative skills. Everybody.
So we have sort of come to the end of the session, unless anybody's got a burning question they'd like to ask. I know Steph asked earlier about how do you find the space in your day to make all these amazing connections? Are there any tips for our
She
teachers?
doesn't go to sleep at night.
Sorry, what was the question? How do I make time in the day for?
For kind of spinning all the plates and making all these amazing connections with that organisation and partnerships and funding and all those sorts of things. How do you make it happen?
Oh, I just love what I'm doing. I love the new people that I'm meeting. I'm loving this kind of army that I'm connecting with, and it's you know, I think what we're really good at being teachers is that we are problem solvers. So we know there's a problem, so we are on a mission to fix it. So I have no work-life balance. I've actually felt in a big way, and do you know what? This is therapy for me, so I'm just going to say it. So I've joined the sketchbook circle, and I'm failing even to do that. I'm so sorry, Susan. I'm so sorry, but I'm trying to look after myself in terms of that. But I think, yeah, I don't know. I'll get there. I promise I'll get there. But thank you for that question. Thank you for that question.
Well, it was so lovely for you to join us today, and I know you're a very, very busy lady with the book coming out and school and family. So thank you so much. If you would like any of the people attending, if you'd like to leave some comments about Andria's presentation today, we'd be really grateful, and I know Andria would be too, and it really helps us to identify what we're doing here, what Native Creators is about, how Andria's sorry about my dog barking if you can hear that, how the conversation can keep going and what we'd like to see in the future. So please take some time to just pop into the chat to the Jamboard and just pop a sticky note onto the board to let us know how you felt about this session, which I'm sure everybody will give it an amazing thumbs up. So thank you very, very much, Andria, again, and thank you all those people that have given up their beautiful Tuesday evening in the sun to come and listen, and do go out and buy this amazing book. Oh my,
thank you.
but I can't get it to go on the screen, but those who and Teach by Andria Zafirakou. Go out now and buy it and learn more about her amazing journey. So thank you very, very, very much, everybody, for coming.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.